Hey guys, welcome back to Bird Dog Gaming. Today we're going to talk about the Arcade1Up Rampage machine that I've had for a few months now. It's got 4 awesome games on it: Defender, Joust, Gauntlet, and of course Rampage. And I think that after having it for so long now, I think I'm ready to share my thoughts with you guys and give my review. I think there's a lot of things that the machine does well, but there's so many things that it could do better. I got this machine because I'm a huge Joust fan, and I've really been wanting to have that arcade home experience in the game room. And we're going to talk about whether or not this machine fulfills that need for you as a collector, gamer, whatever. So let's dive right in.
So let's start out with the price tag. These machines came out in September of 2018 and retailed at $300 US dollars, but you can honestly find them below retail at this point anywhere you look. I paid $172 after a sale in January of this year. They're about 3/4 the size of the regular arcade cabinet, about 3 feet and 10 inches tall. The cabinet weighs about 60 pounds and comes with a 17-inch color LCD screen. Inside the cabinet it's pretty hollow. The setup for the machine is pretty simple. I had my girlfriend help me and it took us about an hour. All you need is a Phillips screwdriver and a little bit of patience. Now, I want to get into the goods of this machine before I start talking about the long list of negatives I have for it, because I do enjoy playing the games on this cabinet, and it does get the job done, at least for the most part. For starters, this thing is just beautiful to look at. I will admit the height of the cabinet is a little funny to see, especially compared to some of the other furniture in your room, but once you set up a couple of stools in front of it, I think it helps a lot. You can also get yourself an official Arcade1Up riser if you can find one. I know they were out of stock for a while. The LCD screen looks great. I haven't had any issues with it, and I think the games are presented very nicely on the screen. It's definitely not too small. I think it's just the right size. Colors are nice and vibrant, and I think it does justice to all the games. I will say that some people do have dead pixels in their screen, and I have not had that issue, luckily. Now, let's get back to the part where I said that this machine gets the job done for the most part. Yeah, the games sound pretty good, but I've noticed Joust has some really delayed effects after just 2 or 3 rounds of playing. Listen here. This isn't anything game breaking, but I definitely noticed it and am pretty bothered by it. Speaking of game breaking though, have you guys heard of the glitch in Gauntlet? Oh yeah, apparently if you get to level 16 or 31 of the game and try to progress, it freezes on you. Maybe I should have started the video with that. Arcade1Up is however aware of the issue and will send you a free updated PCB that you can easily install yourself. I got one and haven't installed it yet, but I have had it for a little while now. Maybe it even fixes the Joust sound effect delays I've been experiencing. That'd be nice. It's great that they send it to you for free, but why not just test the machine before shipping it off to customers? I can just imagine a guy in quality control playing this thing and dying at level 15 of Gauntlet and not wanting to restart the game. He just said, yeah, that plays good, send it out. On top of these issues with the original board, the sound effects are apparently really messed up in Gauntlet, and the slowdown of the game is tremendous. I personally haven't played a lot of Gauntlet, but YouTuber Benjamin Deadmoon has some great videos of the issues with the game before and after the updated PCB. I'll put a link in the description below. Here's something I noticed with the machine that I couldn't have possibly predicted when I first purchased it. The buttons do not pop back up the way they used to. I play a lot of Joust on this machine and I'm constantly mashing that red jump button. I've noticed that the first player jump button has become really soft. Soft is the best word I can use to describe it, as it just doesn't click the way it used to, and I don't even play very hard on this machine. It's not something to brush off like, oh, it just happens after time, because it happened very early on for me. And even if it happened after a year of owning the machine, I still don't think that would be acceptable to just brush off. Defender doesn't seem to have too many issues. I do think the sound can be off at times, but the real thing you should be concerned with is the control scheme. Man, this game requires 5 of the 6 buttons on the control panel and they're not exactly next to each other. Compared to an original Defender arcade cabinet, the controls aren't too far off, but just having the 2 additional joysticks between the buttons definitely takes some getting used to. I haven't even said anything about Rampage yet, but that's because it really has the least issues with it. If anything, I would say playing 3-player feels a little cramped, but that's to be expected. Anyone who's played on a 4-player Ninja Turtles cabinet knows what I'm talking about. But seriously, if you're dying to play some Rampage at home on an arcade cabinet, I think it's a solid way to play it. The game is presented so crisp and clear on that LCD, and I haven't had any sound issues with it. I think Arcade1Up definitely put the majority of their time into this one. If you had an Arcade1Up machine from the time they released last year up until I think March of 2019, you were able to get a plexiglass cover for the control panel for free. This is essential for sparing the cheap artwork that is glued onto your control panel. Seriously, I think they bought some Elmer's glue and stuck that bad boy on there. Mine was coming off when I bought it. The plexiglass cover also includes a replacement artwork sheet that fits over your existing one. This was optional and I decided to leave it off of mine for whatever reason. However, I think you do have to pay for your cover now, which is really kind of ridiculous. If they're going to make artwork that scratches that easily, the least they could do is provide you with a plastic cover. What else should you know about this plastic cover? It doesn't lay flat. If you look closely, the holes in the cover aren't placed properly to go over the buttons. This, amongst many other things I've discussed in this video, should tell you everything you need to know about Arcade1Up as a company. You get what you pay for with this company, and you just can't expect a quality arcade cabinet for $300, plain and simple. Another thing about this machine is the joysticks feature a screw-on ball top that literally falls off if you don't tighten it every 30 seconds or so. Anytime someone new comes over and tries the arcade, they think they've broken my arcade because the ball falls off. Really lousy design there, but I've gotten used to it. I'd love to know if any of you guys share some of the same issues, so please join me for some rants and complaints in the comments below. I think my absolute biggest complaint for this machine has to be the fact that it doesn't save high scores. I thought maybe it was just after unplugging the machine that it would lose my save, but no. You don't even have to turn off the thing to lose your high score. All you have to do is switch games. Just beat your high score in Joust and want to take a break with some Defender? Sure, no problem, but when you get back, you're going to see that same stock high score that you've beaten 1,000 times. Seriously, if there was one thing I could change about this machine, it would be that. Even after all those negatives though, this machine is still a decent way to play arcade games and looks great in your game room. It's cheap, and if you go in with low expectations, you'll be fine. If you've got the money to go for the real thing, don't waste your time with Arcade1Up. If you're still interested in playing Joust, Rampage, Gauntlet, and Defender on an arcade machine and you don't mind writing your high score down by hand, I think this cabinet gives you that fulfillment. I can't speak for the other Arcade1Up machines, but I've heard mixed things about all of them. Do your research and prepare yourself for what you're getting yourself into. If you're into modding, I've been told these machines can be hacked and you can make yourself a cool little cabinet that way. My advice is to pay about half the retail price and this cabinet will be worth it. I wouldn't recommend paying retail for this specific machine. If the problems I've mentioned today bother you too much, save that $150 or $200 until you can find a vintage machine and put the money towards that.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's video. I really appreciate you guys checking it out. Give me a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And we will see you back here next time on Bird Dog Gaming.
Game is over. I don't know if we got it.